Excelente, se hicieron best friends ya. Me caen bien las dos.
Oh well, I don't mind rain. Sometimes I even like it. But according to weather forecast, there's a nasty fog coming. Now that I'm actually scared of.
Es que Silent Hill.
Got lost in a fog once when I was just 9 or 10. I remember I sat under a tree crying, thinking some monster would appear right in front of me and drag me away.
But now that you're a big girl, you know there are no monsters.
Yeah? How do you know?
The only monsters are us. Murderers, rapists, arsonists. They're the real beasts. So far from humanity, they're no longer capable of feeling compassion or guilt. They're the ones we should really be afraid
De
of.
hecho.
But whether they're lurking in the woods or fog or the darkness of our cellars, it's all irrelevant. You can't predict what happens. You can't do anything to stop it. There is only one way. You turn into a beast yourself, and like them, you show no mercy.
Whoa! Where did that come from, Miss Ashworth?
Ella ha conocido monstruos y
I
va a
just don't
conocer
like
muchos más.
murderers. They're nothing but parasites. What are you planning to find
El
this
Doctor
guy?
X y luego ese
I don't know
cabrón y
yet.
su esposa que nos
A bit
dejó
of
así.
detective work, perhaps.
Ya los odio a ellos también.
It shouldn't be that hard,
No quiero
really.
que le hagan nada a
There are
Susan,
only 8
perdónenme.
apartments here.
Los voy a
These
matar.
yours. That leaves us with 7. I was hoping that you could give me a hand, actually. You know some of your neighbors, don't you?
Not many. I never really cared about them. They changed over the years too. You probably also figured by now that this is not the sort of place where new neighbors are greeted with a freshly baked cake. You see a new face, you give them a blank stare as you pass them in the hall. and you
Haces
forget
como
about
que
them
no
a
los
minute
ve.
later.
That bad, eh?
Well, there's that bald guy who lives above me in flat 5. He came here recently to shout in my face. He's a nasty piece of work, but I really don't think he's the person you're looking for.
What does he do for a living?
I think he's a train driver.
I can't imagine somehow that my guy would be a train driver. Okay, that's good. Leaves us with just 6.
Oh, el tipo que busca
Anyone
está en
else
el
know?
departamento este de
I'd
aquí.
have to think.
You know, maybe not tonight. Let's just talk about something else, okay? I have plenty of time. There's no need to rush this. Maybe tomorrow we could sit down together and make a plan. I could draw a simple map of the building, and with your help, mark down who lives where.
Sounds good to me, Mitzi.
Oh, ya se hicieron amigas, qué bonito.
You mentioned a boyfriend. Tell me something about
¿Te ha dado
him.
duro contra el muro?
Okay, let's talk about him. His name's Jack.
Oh.
He's dead.
Oh, eso es muy triste, adiós.
Miss Ashworth, are you sure you want to listen about my miserable life? I don't want to bring you down.
Qué feo,
Not
todas
happy
ellas tienen una
stories.
vida fea.
And I'm not a happy
Qué
stories
feo,
kind of
ah,
person.
qué triste.
I'm sure you've noticed by now.
I guess so. Anyway, I suppose I would have had to tell you about Jack sooner or later. After all, he is the main reason I'm here. I just don't know where to start.
Tell me how you two met.
Oh, we knew each other for like forever. We grew up on the same street. It's funny how we seem to be made for each other. A perfect match. I always knew he was the guy for me, and I'm sure he never doubted that either. Jack was absolutely crazy about me. We thought one day we would marry, have children, be happy. I never had many friends because I had Jack. I didn't need anybody else. You know, if there's one thing I'm really grateful for in my life, it's that I got to experience this pure, perfect love. Some people go through a lifetime without knowing how it feels. I guess I've been very lucky. But all luck runs out sometimes.
You take the news about your cancer.
He thought I was joking at first. He laughed. And he got really angry. I swore to him I was serious, but he still wouldn't believe me. We had a big fight that night. It was our first and only fight. It was awful. He smashed some stuff. His guitar, of all things, was the worst. He loved that guitar. Why did he break it? He was absolutely furious. He walked out on me that night, and when he came back the next day, he was different. He begged me to try surgery and chemotherapy. I didn't really want those things, but I did the chemo for him. It didn't help. It just made me feel sick all the time. I felt trapped in this strange place where nothing that happened around me seemed real.
Oh, Dios mío.
Maybe that's why I didn't see what my cancer was doing to Jack, and it was destroying him as well. He changed. He became obsessed with death. It seemed death was all he ever thought about, even though it was me, not him, who was supposed to die.
How did he die? How did Jack die?
It was so distant in the last few weeks before he died. What I didn't know was that he kept looking for something. I don't think he even knew what exactly. But it eventually found him. Or rather, he found him. There are those forums online, you know, about all sorts of stuff. Fishing, computer games, horses, gambling, addictions.
Caballos.
Really. Accidentally, Jack stumbled upon one about suicide. There's a guy there. Calls himself the Eye of Adam. He's a fucking god on that forum. It's like a failed suicide club. People mostly try to help each other and offer support. Sometimes it just helps to know there are others like you. To listen to their stories and how they cope with their lives. But the Eye of Adam is an advocate of death. He dwells on human weakness.
No me jodas.
His
¿Será
job
ese
is to
cabrón?
plant an idea, to give them a reason to die and tell them how to do it, once and for good. Jack took the bait. Before he knew, he was completely brainwashed. One day he sat down with me and tried to explain his perfect solution. It was the Romeo and Juliet kind of scenario. We were both to die together in each other's arms. It was supposed to be a quick and foolproof death. There was no chance we would have been saved. All thanks to the Eye of Adam, who created a tool for perfect suicide. He told me it was very simple. All we needed were 2 easily accessible household chemicals, which combined together create a gas called hydrogen sulfide that kills you within a couple of minutes. I told him he was fucking nuts, of course, but he just wouldn't give up. He reasoned with me, and he begged, and eventually just kept screaming at me. I figured it was his crazy idea of a modern romance, but it was downright tacky and just wrong. Finally, he said he would get everything ready and wait for me in our special place at dawn, 5 in the morning. Don't be late. Those were his last words he said to me. Then he stormed out. I cried for hours, thinking I didn't deserve all that from the person I loved most in the whole world. A few times I even tried to persuade myself that maybe he was right and I should do it. But I just couldn't. I eventually fell asleep. I didn't plan it. My head was killing me. I was so tired. I woke up suddenly. I could see the sun rising out my window. It was nearly 5. In utter panic, I threw myself off the bed and ran out the door. I needed to stop him. I needed to get there before it was too late. But right there in my bedroom, before I even left, I already knew it was. When I arrived at our special place, it was already bright. We used to go there in the past, drink wine, Sometimes smoke weed
Hierba.
and listen to Pink Floyd. Sometimes make love in Jack's car. There wasn't really anything special about that old parking lot. But else there was. It was completely abandoned. It was quiet. It was safe. After that day, I've never gone there again.
Vamos a jugar como Mitzi, excelente, excelente. Y es una Mitzi verde, véanla. Hermosa, ¿verdad? Porque es verde, neta. Da miedo. Da mucho miedo, ¿qué pedo le pasa? Uy, sí se mató.
I'm so sorry. I think now I understand. He loved you so much, he couldn't bear the thought of living without you.
Pobrecito.
And that guy, the Eye of Adam. I'm not surprised you want to find him. I know I would. I'm not sure if I should believe that you only want to talk to him. But hey, that's none of my business.
Good to know, but I really just want to talk. I want to face Jack's killer and tell him what he's done to me. You know, the funny part is that he actually told me where he lives. He wants to meet me. Would you believe that?
How come?
Well, this kind of thing he does is called trolling on the internet. It's usually a form of extreme bullying, psychological cruelty. Those who are clever enough say, don't feed the troll, don't talk to them. It only makes it worse if you show any interest in them at all. And Eye of Adam is no exception. He craves attention. He's a hungry troll who wants to devour as many hearts as he can get a hold of. I emailed him and told him I was a massive fan who loves his work. He wouldn't believe me at first. But trolls are always hungry, and I was prepared to serve him a meal fit for a king.
What do you mean?
I fed him so much bullshit that he really believed I'm a suicide preacher just like him.
Great.
Excelente,
I
excelente.
wish he'd given you his door number though.
It's all a part of some sick game he's playing. Sooner or later, I'll find him.
Skate the whole thing.
Como hay una
Sounds almost
película
like a sect.
japonesa, creo.
Guy knows how to
No sé de
hide.
dónde, que se llama
Police can't be
Suicide.
bothered to make an
El
effort.
Club del Suicidio,
Took
pues.
me 3
El otro día la
months to
estaba
track
viendo
him
en
down.
Netflix, pero
Now
me
I'm
quedé
finally
dormido,
so
así que no le
close.
entendí ni
I can
madre.
almost smell that fucker.
Los
Are those
productos.
two chemical products?
Solo por curiosidad.
I'm not sure if you want to know that.
I get it.
Excelente, qué bueno.
You don't want to tell me because I'm a fucking suicidal maniac.
Sí, de hecho también.
No, Miss Ashworth. No, I didn't mean it like that. Okay. Maybe to some extent. Just replace maniac with victim and fucking with recovering. You've only just come back from the hospital. Whatever it was that made you do it, you proved you are capable of going through with it. I don't know you long enough to tell you if you're completely over it now. And the last thing I want is to give you stupid ideas. It would be just like what the Eye of Adam does. I would never forgive myself if anything happened to you because of me.
Oh,
How could
Mitzi
I?
es muy linda, me cae bien, demasiado bien. Ay, pero se va a morir, ay no.
I've learnt my lesson. Dying is not for me.
I'd really like to believe you, Miss Ashworth. But I will need you to promise me that you will never try this method.
All right. I can promise you that I will never try this method. Or any other method for that matter. Been there, done that.
Ah,
Didn't
con razón
enjoy it
cuando se
much.
dispara dice
Do you believe me
que
now?
perdón por romper su promesa.
Yeah, I think I do. Good. I'm glad you said that, you know.